What's up, mortgage coach and trust engine community? It is Saturday morning, about 9:30 Pacific. Rene, it's getting into lunchtime, so we are going to keep this, 10, no more than 20 minutes. But I had Rene on the Friday mastermind yesterday, and first of all, it was an amazing 1 hour call, mastermind style. Rene shared some big ideas about influence, but there were some questions I wanted to ask him that I thought would really help all mortgage and real estate professionals. Whether this is your first year in the business, I think there's value in what we're going to talk about right now. But particularly for some of the most successful people in mortgage, I think that the second half of 2023 is a real opportunity to grow your influence. So we labeled this amplify your influence. Of course, anyone that knows Rene Rodriguez, they connect your brand with that, Rene. You've got a book called Amplify Your Influence, right?
I do. Yeah. If you haven't gotten it, get it. Whatever you
Yeah,
want to say, go get it.
it's right behind him. And we also talked about in that call, Rene's doing a free event, just a gift to really anyone who wants to amplify their influence. But Rene, what I wanted to do is you had given some highlights to some of the things that you're accomplishing and how you're going to the next level personally as an influencer, not just in mortgage and real estate, but really how you're becoming a very well-known national influencer. I mean, I had my high school kids forward me a TikTok. Is this your friend Rene? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, this is cool.
Mm,
So
that's
I'd
cool.
love for you to tell everyone what your goals are, and then we're gonna pivot and have you share what you think mortgage and real estate professionals should be doing right now.
Well, one, thank you. I think that's cool. It's funny, the TikTok growth, and it's a year ago I was at 150 followers or something like that, and seeing it now at 1 million. And even when I hit that, I'm like, okay, it's really not going to mean much. And then you start realizing just how many people are watching that you don't know are watching. That's the part. So the followers is one thing, but then there's the residual of the people that never comment, never like, and just watch. And it's multiples of that. It's multiples of that. But go back to your original question. I think that the journey is the question and what you're talking about. And I think probably one of the most recent things that I did was I had to really take a hard look in the mirror. And I've done this several times. I do this every couple of years, where I take a hard look in the mirror and I try my best to remove my ego. And that's so hard to do. It doesn't matter. And I'm not saying I have a big ego. I think the ego is part of the human system and the human experience, but it's the ability to remove the ego, to ask the tough questions, to get a really good answer. I think that's what also makes the rise in the use of psilocybin so popular, because it creates an ego death for people. I haven't gone down that path that far, but if you can really truly look, and the first thing that came up to me was my health. And there's people close to me that would ask questions, and people would kind of hint at it. Renee, I don't know how you do it, man. Are you doing okay? God, you look tired today, and then my ego would say, nah, man, just plowing through, grit, tough work. This is the grind. And, all that stuff. And which is just BS around. The reality was I wasn't healthy, and I was on the road too much. I wasn't sleeping enough. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't consuming the amount of water I needed. I was doing too much salt in the wrong kinds of ways, processed foods, whatever it was. And, I could lie to myself saying I was in the gym or working out, but something was off. And I had to ask myself the tough question, which was, would I believe me? Would I listen to me? And then look at all the aspects of that. And that sparked for me another journey of just really getting clear on my physical self. And if I was going to be on the road that much, and that was 237 days last year that I spoke, that doesn't include travel. That means that I had to literally change my mindset to say, okay, if I was a professional athlete, how would I feed myself? And if I have to perform, it is physical, but it's not the physical exertion, but it is the mental exertion, which I think all of us know that when we mentally exert ourselves, it's tiring and it's exhausting, especially me being an introvert. So I don't get energy from groups. They deplete my energy. And so, so how am I going to make sure that I'm on point? So I had to engage in a lot of changes physically, and diet wise, in terms of what I eat. So that was probably one of the biggest pieces that I had to do. And I don't know if you want to stop there, but there's a bunch of different pieces. That was probably the first one that I had to do.
Well, first of all, anyone listen to this, did you catch that Rene has got 1 million followers on TikTok now? That is insane. Did you hear that he spoke? I can't remember the exact number, but 230 some odd times. For anyone who, you know,
Days. It was more times because some days had 3 and 4 events, but
yeah,
days.
so days. So I mean, that's just insane, and a real level of success. And your success is gone beyond mortgage. Real quick, I do. If you could just give us and kind of rattle off the stats, because I'm labeling this, and I'm trying to get to like amplify your influence. And so obviously part of that is your personal health. It's sleeping. It's water. It's how you're showing up, but it's also social media and
Mm.
growing, the people that follow you, and having influence with the people that follow you. So real quick, what are the channels you're using? Where are you at? And where do you want to go the second half of the year?
Well, so what's what you know what's funny is that I got a call from another friend who's in our space here too, and he wanted to do a podcast, and he said, dude, 10 years ago you and I were just hanging out, two guys, and he goes, I'm watching what's going on. He goes, can we document all the steps that you took over the last 10, 15 years? And I was like, man, that's an interesting question. And I've been sitting back and looking at that, not from like, and by the way, I need to preface this, not like I've made it. There's people listening to this that are way more successful than me financially and all sorts of reasons. This is moreover just, I think people watched who I was before and where I am now. Just a shift and change. Not saying it's better or worse, just a shift. And and also I like to share what those pieces are, because that's part of my passion, is saying, how can I share any learning that I've had and what I've done? And yeah, there are been some measurable shifts and measurable changes. And that's where I'm like, okay, and where you are too, how do we share that with people, and how can we add value with that? So TikTok we started a process with TikTok and Instagram just under a year ago. And I didn't think TikTok mattered. I was like, okay, it's just for dance videos. And when with this group that I was working with, is an individual who had grown his following. He's a creative director. His name is Mo, just one of the most beautiful human beings you'll ever meet. And he said, Rene, there's a formula to it. There's also when I introduced Mortgage Coach to Neil and I brought him on AmpCon stage, they had worked together, and there was a formula to this whole thing. And the interesting thing is that everybody talks about this formula, but few truly understand it. The thing is, if you're looking at, and I'll tell you this, if you're looking at hiring a social media firm or firm or somebody helping with this, if you do have to look at the metrics that these people are getting themselves. You have to do it. And it's not because of vanity or anything else. It's because posting on social is not the same as being effective on social. And I learned that the hard way. I'm not saying that because, oh, hey, I'm getting results now. I'm saying that because I got so little results for so long. And you guys know that I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars per video to get no likes and follows. And nobody watched the videos. It's because I was doing it wrong. I'm not saying the videos were bad. I was just doing it wrong. I use the videos to do what Dave always talks about, is just social selling. It was part of my presentation toolkit. Once I had a captive audience, I could play and force them to watch a video, and they would watch it. But if I put that on social media, nobody would watch it. And so I went to him. He had 130 some thousand followers. His content was authentic. Man, it was creative. It was just really good. So I went with him, and then we launched Instagram and TikTok at the same time. And our third video went to 25, almost 26 million views using this process. And I was like, and he looked at me, I looked at him, I'm like, oh my God. And then 6 videos down, another 4 million views. And then this, and all of a sudden our account is just going through the roof. And our Instagram isn't moving at all, just not moving. And I'm watching this, and I'm watching the one account go, one not move, still really good content. And we did that for 4 months. And I finally said to him, I said, you know what? I think I made a mistake with my Instagram account. And I think more people need to be honest about this, which is okay. And the mistake was I allowed a firm to handle my Instagram account. And they were part of campaigns, which everybody did it for a long time because everybody wanted the 10,000 followers. So we get the swipe up feature. We did that. And all of a sudden now the account wasn't growing. I said, you know what? If I could say I have no ego on this, We had 26,000 followers. I go, I'd rather have 1,500 followers that actually know me, that like me, than 26,000 pretend followers that I bought, basically. And we started the account over. Scary, emotional. Would people find me again? And I had to just kind of trust that, you know what, either this is going to be a disaster story or this is going to be a great story. Well, 5 months later, we have 191,000 followers. And right now, Instagram is really hard to grow. And so we've grown with like 300 posts up to 191,000. So there's a formula to the whole process, and it's legit. There is a process, it's real, and it's worth it. And now people are saying, okay, what have I noticed as a difference? The difference has become, one, in the speaker fee has gone way up. There's less negotiation and people are asking. So that's one. But the sort of the other pieces to really having a strong social media game would be the network that it attracts for you. And it attracts people. And just like when you okay, so let's look at the levels of influence, right? In terms of how that works. If you're in an audience versus being on stage, the one on stage has more influence, just period. That's just law. Like if you're in the audience watching your favorite rock star, the rock star has influence. They have leverage. And that's really what the goal of it is, leverage. You can be Mick Jagger, ugly as could be, but the women love you because they're looking up to you. There's all sorts of psychology and anthropology and sociology and neurology that's functioning in the favor of giving leverage to that person. So that's why we say your first step is to learn how to speak in public. There's amplify. And then there's all the other pieces that sort of come into play that really contribute to that. And that's where sort of the journey was been, to saying, okay, where are all the elements? Health was one, because I could be a great speaker. I'm the same speaker I was 10 years ago. I think I'm a little better, but a little more confident, probably, more there, but still, I was still really good 10 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, but I was not healthy. And so I was like, okay, so there's one piece. This is a health piece. Then, okay, great content, but I didn't have a book. Okay. So then there's the concept of how do you, do you self-publish? Do you publish? My goals drew me down the publisher route. They actually found me, which was great. But then not just write a book. I want one of those notches of saying it's got to be a bestseller, not Amazon, because that's you can manipulate that. I want Wall Street. You can't manipulate. USA Today, Wish, New York Times. Maybe that's for the second book or third book. But getting those stamps start contributing to sort of all of these sort of building blocks over, 15-year period of doing that. Then the one that I didn't have was social media. It's like I was all this great stuff, bestselling, but nobody's following me on social. Okay, so then that comes into play. And all of these elements start happening. And what's interesting, if I were to tell you right now where I am lacking and where I'm constantly looking in the mirror and going, okay, well, what's missing? Passion. It's ironic. I am a really passionate person, but for some reason, the more thoughtful I've become through this process and the more I'm learning, the more serious and quieter I've become. And if you go back to some of my videos, and I'm realizing some of my social media videos are just, I'm sitting here, I'm just talking, and because I'm almost philosophical, because that's how I spend most of my time philosophizing and thinking and shit, myself and what's going on. What does this truly mean? How do I really take the tough neuroscience and make it into applicable knowledge? But I've gotten kind of boring, and in my opinion. So now in live audiences, it works just fine. But the videos that I talk that way, I have to be a little bit more animated. I got to be able to use my hands and do some things that really keep things alive. Right. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm struggling with it because I got to find it internally. And so what's interesting, even yesterday's call, where I get angry is where my passion starts coming out. And so there's a beauty in the anger, and not anger towards a person, anger towards the status quo, anger towards the future thought of having a conversation with someone that they could have changed now. And so I think that goes back to you had asked me to think of two things. One, if I'm listening to this, okay, so what does this mean? And you guys don't need to be authors and speakers, but I think you need to take some of this stuff and apply it to you, which would be one. I think we got to think bigger.
Well,
I think we have to think bigger.
Before you go there, because I
Please.
do want to go there, and I want to net out some things. So Rene, I've followed Rene and known Rene for 20 years, but we got closer pre-COVID, about the year before COVID, right? 2019 was where we really got closer. and started doing big things together. When I saw the 2-day Amplify workshop and went through it myself, I was just like, you know what? Part of my mission is to change how people get into debt in America. And I had this, personal belief that if the people that are the best advisors in the mortgage industry, mortgage coaches, got better at being communicators, it would be good for them. And I'm all about helping the people that are my customers and my friends. And it would be good for this mission we're on. And needless to say, that's been a massive success. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people have been amplified, and it's a very expensive premium event. I think it's over $6,000 now. And then I know you've got other events, you've got other workshops, but I wanted everybody to get the takeaway. Guys, Rene's gone to the next level. I mean, he wanted to be, highest paid speaker and make a living as a speaker. And now it's like, I don't know that there's anyone in speaking in mortgage that is a higher paid speaker or more sought after than Rene Rodriguez. And he's also going to a bigger stage. So Rene, before we get into advice for loan officers, just really quick, what are your goals for the second half of this year? And then let's push and transition into, hey, mortgage coaches, people that follow our community, here's the playbook for them. But real quick, what are your goals for this second half of the year?
One, thank you for all that. The goals are scale. And scale, it's almost if I'm not careful, they'll be conflicting. So there's a lot of strategy in what we're trying to accomplish. Reach more people with less travel. And so, but yet not at all compromising on impact, right? So this is really hard. Like the paradigm that I live under, if I'm not traveling, I'm not impacting. And that's a really, really hard paradigm to live under for me. Because then I'm at home, I'm not impacting. I've had to really rethink that. I've had to surround myself around people that show me that you can make massive impact without traveling. So one of those is to create, one of the things we're looking at creating is a destination spot. People that want to come. Nobody really wants to come to Minnesota, unfortunately. I hope I don't eat those words, which means I might have to find a new place. And so there are locations that we're looking at creating a center where people would come. And the events would be held there. It'd be desirable. It'd be beautiful. It'd be relaxing. It'd be retreat-ish feel. But then it would allow me to be close to family. And what I've come to really learn is that I need the most important time that I need is time to think and time to create. And that is where the biggest value is built. And that's where all the biggest things are solved. I mean, there's one client that I think I mentioned yesterday that really said, we believe in that and we see you in that, and they're willing to pay for that. And I have delivered for them the best work I've delivered for anyone. And they are over the top ecstatic. But it's, and I talked to them, I said, it's because you're giving me the gift of time here. You're giving me the gift of time. So one is scale without compromising impact. That means new product, new thinking. We're doing the free masterclass that creates scale because it also serves my values. I don't want to only serve the rich and famous. These tools need to be in the hands of those that can't afford it. And so I've got to figure it out. So the book is great. The podcast is free, all that stuff. The masterclass is going to be free. Yes. At the end of the masterclass, there'll be an offer to move on to the next level for those that want to. And that's that strategy now fits my value system. And so we've been toying it with this year of more webinars, larger scale, gives access to more people. And, we had 2,300 people paid on our first one, 1,800 on our second one, I think 1,500. We barely marketed the third one. And we still had 1,500 people paid to be on there. And now we're going, okay, so let's do one free and let's see how many people we can get on there. And, I'm literally toying with the idea, and don't hold me to this, is what if I did away with speaker fees? Like, what if I didn't have a $35,000, $40,000 speaker fee? And what if I could get out there and impact more people, but then that would give me access to offer things to more folks in a different way that they opt into, right? And so, but there's things that there's a value to a speaker fee because then the speaker doesn't have to sell anything, and then they get a chance to deliver pure value. I am a bad pitch man on stage, very bad. For the 3 events that I was supposed to do it at for my virtual events, I, excuse my language, shit the bed on all 3 of them. And people were like, why didn't you do this? I go, because I was caught up in adding value. But the pitch usually requires you to not give the solution and give a tease to the solution so that people have to pay for the solution. I am legit struggling with that. Now, aside from that, the goal being larger scale with bigger impact, and still offering the ability for those that want to do that. And then spending a lot more time in think tank, brain trust, mastermind type environments where we create the best of the best in one room to really watch these people work together, shine together, facilitated by me, facilitated by my mentors, bringing my network of some of the coolest people in the world together into one room 3 times a year.
Cool. All right. Love that. What social media channels are you going to focus on for the second half of the year? Obviously TikTok, Instagram, anything else?
TikTok, Instagram are really, so we got a nice process for that. Thanks to you and Kelly Zitlow, I was at 250 followers when we talked last. We're approaching 9,000. And yeah,
by the way, that's YouTube, everyone. Kelly and I
YouTube.
Cornered him at dinner a year ago or several months ago, and like, bro, you gotta kill it on YouTube.
And we haven't even focused on it. That's the problem. And we've
Are you going to do anything with Thread? What are your thoughts on?
Oh,
it's only a day or two
Thread.
out. So you think Thread's cool?
I you know what? I love it. We were a day or two out. I signed up. I've been doing things. We've already grown to 15,700 followers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
By the way, we're both on Thread. I don't know what I'm going to do on Thread yet, other than use it as a kind of notification engine for content I'm creating. So
here's what I'm doing on Thread, and this is what I'm learning from others. I'm not a guru, so don't think this. Is use it as a thinking outlet, thought outlet. I have this thought and just put it there. Don't worry if people like it, but put it out there and just saying, I was thinking about this, that, and just put an idea out. And it allows people to poll, to like, yes, no, whatever. And you're testing your ideas and you're getting other people to think on that same idea, on what's current with you. If you're sitting there thinking, what could I say that would really bang right now? You're doing it wrong. Just have an idea and put it out there. If it's horrible, delete it, right? Don't worry about that stuff. You can always delete it, but use it as a thought output. And it also, more importantly, this is where you have to hone in and learn to write. Writing is the secret skill, by the way. That's what people don't understand. I'm a good speaker because I'm a good writer. And good writing, it's like, I think Alex Hormozy said it best. He said that you want it to be honey for the ears. You want it to be well articulated. You want it to be there. And if you suck at writing, great, start practicing. We suck at everything at first. And I think I put that as one of my first Thread posts, was that awkwardness is a requirement for growth. Everything we do is awkward at first. But as adults, we get worried about awkward. Kids aren't worried about being awkward. They just do. As adults, we're worried about being awkward. Go write some awkward shit and then get better at it. That's the only way to do it. So yeah, Threads for sure. And we're doing a lot more. We're going to do a lot more on YouTube.
Good.
A lot more on YouTube.
Glad to hear that. All right, let's transition and close out with any of the folks that follow you on social media. And I do feel like everyone in mortgage and real estate should follow you. There's just so much value, and I can't emphasize enough they should go to Amplify. But what should they be doing to amplify their influence? And let's just focus on the second half of 2023. Sounds like one thing they should be doing is getting on Thread, experiment with it, share your thoughts, experiment with that. But if you were to give 3 to 5, do this, do that, what advice would you give? And think Kelly Zitlow, think Jeremy Forcier. If you were talking to them right now and giving them a little Rene Rodriguez second half of 2023 suggestion, what would your suggestions be?
I would say, one, don't be afraid to think bigger, and don't let that become cliche. And so right now, if you're already saying I think big, cool. Well, what if you weren't thinking big enough? Don't compare your thinking to someone else. Compare it to you. I know there's so many people that the only difference between me and them is that I just tried something bigger. That's it. They're smarter than me, have more money than me, and man, way more charisma. They're just a bit more experience. And maybe they got comfortable. I don't know, but maybe don't be afraid to think bigger and ask yourself, man, what if there's another level here? What if there's a next level? to this? What if I could be that much more influential? And that kind of comes back to is don't sleep on the importance of influence. And beyond what I'm talking about, there's so much more to this game of influence. It's a never ending game, which is why people come back every time, because every Amplify course is different. It just gets, there's more knowledge, there's more understanding, and there's a different level to it. And so, like, why not be the one on that stage? And if you're already on that stage, why not be the one that is the highest rated on that stage? And if you're the highest rated, then why not find a stage that's even bigger? Right? Like right now, like I feel, based on like just the network that I'm surrounding myself with, that I am a baby in this. If you got to feel like the baby. I'm surrounded by people that are way bigger. And I'm looking at this going, man, like seek out the imposter syndrome, by the way. Like you should seek it out every day. Because imposter syndrome, all that means, one, everybody has it. All it means is you've leveled up in one status area of your life. That's all it means. And if I've leveled up, that means for a minute, I'm going to feel like an imposter because I don't know what's going on. But that I found that lasts about 2 weeks. You pull out a pad of paper and a pen, take notes for 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, you're going to realize that these people don't know what the hell they're doing either. And you're all trying to figure it out. And then all of a sudden you're in the game and you're at that next level. Then you should go seek it out again. More awkwardness, more imposter syndrome. Want that shit in your life. And be at the stage that you go, why am I even here? Be in the room that going, do I even belong in this room? That's what my mastermind is designed to make you feel like, do I even belong in here? And then, yes, that's exactly the whole point, is so that you can now at the end of this going, fuck yeah, I belong in this room. And then who's the next? And so, especially right now, by the way, this is such a critical time. You won't cut your way to success. You won't survive your way to success. You got to like act and think big and step big into these moments because no one else is. What a beautiful way to separate yourself from everyone else, to take big steps when everyone's taking small steps. Sleep when everyone else is partying, practice when no one else is, run when everyone else is walking. All the opposite things that separate you. Think separation. That's another way of thinking of differentiation, is separate myself from the pack. Everyone else is doing this, then I'm going to do that. And so there's so many things right now, I think, and opportunities. But if we were to think about that, to double down and lean in, one of my favorite concepts is where you stand with your energy, whether you're neutral, back on your heels, or forward center of mass. And that forward center of mass, leaning into life, leaning into your business, leaning into the idea of learning. If you're reading a book, lean into that book, even if it's for 5 minutes. But if I catch myself on my heels, I know I'm not going anywhere. Even if I'm neutral, I'm not moving, because the people that are forward center are moving forward ahead of me. And so constantly keeping that forward center of mass onto what you're doing, think bigger, push more, all that stuff. It's just, there's so much opportunity into that. And I know a lot of the people listening to this, I want you to ask yourself, what if there was a next level that I wasn't even aware of? What if there was another thing that I could do that I didn't even realize I could? Yeah, I made millions and millions, but what if there was more beyond money, more impact, easier to make this the next time? What if there was, and just stay with the what if and see where your brain goes and lean in. I don't think life was meant for comfort. I don't think life was meant for happiness. I think life was meant for growth and for service, because that's what makes us feel best, is when we help somebody, when we grow, when we're tired at the end of the day and we go, man, look what we did today. I know that when we don't grow, when we don't do that, and we sit back and just are comfortable, that doesn't mean you can't take a vacation and rest. Yeah, we need to rest so that we can push harder and see what we're capable of. That's also what shows that you make us live longer. So anyways, I think that's where I'm hoping people get that from that.
So I love that. And I'm going to write that down, do some thinking about that on a personal note. And I would push anyone listening to this, what could you do to think bigger? I know Kelly Zitlow has had a local YouTube channel for years, where a lot of realtors in her local market follow it. A lot of her clients follow it. And one of the things she did to think bigger is, hey, what if I created a YouTube channel that was global? I think it's how do I, or mortgage, how do I? But it was like, hey, what if I had the top YouTube on mortgage, think bigger. Denise Donahue, just, push them to think bigger, but I want everyone in this community to think bigger. And then Rene, let's wrap up around going deeper. I've got a webinar that I promoted. We're going to start promoting it. We have the chief economist for CoreLogic that's going to share some of the top real estate data. We have the Michael Frantoni, the chief economist for the NBA, Rob Chrisman. And I actually got an email a couple days ago from Ryan Grant, and he said, "Hey, Dave, we have this weekly meeting that we have. We're gonna do our whole weekly meeting around your webinar." And he goes, would you mind, sharing the slides in advance? Would you mind, doing all this stuff? And I thought to myself, he's going deeper, he's
Yeah.
adding more value. And
Yep.
I think when I think of Amplify and I think of everything you're doing, you've got that free event coming up. And I do think this is a market share market. I think everybody that's ever followed you, everybody that's ever been through Amplify, everyone that does it, they should go deeper. Like, they should get their team more involved.
There's so much more.
They should be building a sales meeting around that,
Yeah.
so in the spirit of going deeper, what are the Rene Rodriguez, how should anyone that follows me, how should anyone that follows this community, how can they go deeper with you? And what can they do to go deeper as well as think bigger?
Well, the first thing I want people to understand that it's not about Rene's content. It's more about how can Rene help you get your message out, right?
Okay.
And so that's the big piece. It's not about, don't just consume Rene's content. How can I use and leverage what Rene teaches me to affect more people? Because I exist to serve them. I exist to serve you. It's like the goal of my work has never been my work. It's never been. And I've said that forever. The goal of my work is that somebody comes in and that their message is amplified, not that mine is. I'm the conduit. Not even the conduit. I might be the catalyst or the person that might help them see they have a third, fourth, sixth, seventh gear available to them that they didn't realize that they had. And so one is, how can I use this to do that? One, come back to Amplify. There's so much more there that you can do on your coming back multiple times. So many people say that they have to do it annually. One person did it 11 times in 1 year. Those were 11 different strong value propositions they created that they got a chance to spend 2 full days practicing and getting coached on with an audience. AmpCon, we got our AmpCon event coming up on the 26th of October. I'm working on some of the coolest speakers. Please just earmark the date. Wait to see what we got going on and the experience that we have going on. And following that, for a very, 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 very select few people, we have a mastermind. And that's where I bring some of the coolest. I showed Dave some of the really, really high level, like holy shit people that are going to be there as also members that you'll be able to network with, rub elbows with, grow and break bread together and just learn and collaborate, which, by the way, we meet 3 times a year. And those relationships, though, are ongoing throughout the entire year.
So guys, I'll put links down below to everything I just shared. I just can't emphasize enough, the Amplify community and what Rene has done, I feel is just, if you want to optimize your influence, you need to be in that community. I always tell loan officers, I'm Mr. Mortgage Coach. If you want to be the best advisor you could be, and a lead advisor, you need to leverage our platform to do that. I hope, I will be at AmpliCon.
AmpCon.
I do that every year, don't I?
Yeah, I was going to change it. AmpliCon. It's AmpCon.
Yeah, it's like, I think I even do it on stage. I will really work on that.
It sounds good, actually.
AmpCon. Make sure you sign up. Keep an eye on that. The mastermind is insane. I am going to be part of that. At least I hope I'm going to be part of that. And so
27, 28. Yes, you are 20, there.
It's on my calendar. And so guys, embrace this. Sign up, links down below. Rene, any closing thoughts? I know we've got a few minutes over and it's Saturday.
Reach out, talk to me. Let's connect. Let's reinvigorate. Let's ask tough questions. Challenge me. Come, let's go. There's so much more available. And right now everyone's sleeping. Let's take advantage. Go eat out of people's bowls. If they're not taking care of their customers, go take care of their customers for them.
Let's go. Rene Rodriguez.
Love you, man.
Making time to catch up on a Saturday afternoon.
Always.
Take care, everybody.
Always.
Hope you got value from this. Links down below. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.